Hi. If you're watching this video, you've been told by one of our MyEcon associates how you can get a pay raise on your job without asking your boss. And I'm about to show you exactly how you can do that. Now, you're probably a hard worker, someone who works a lot of overtime, possibly multiple jobs to make ends meet, and you feel like you're worth more money, but your employer won't give it to you. Some of us sit back and wait till evaluation time and hopefully that they give us enough percentage on our check to keep up with the growing cost of living. That's not likely to happen because of inflation. Most companies jack up their prices to make sure that they keep making a profit, but they never jack up the money they pay you on your paycheck. So in this video, we're going to show you how you can get a pay raise from $200 up to $500, and in some rare cases, $1,000 extra a month on your own paycheck legally without asking your boss. Before we get into this, there's some things you need to know. There's a challenge that working Americans face that causes them to make great income on paper, but live paycheck to paycheck because they're not getting paid enough of what they deserve while they go to work every day. Now, you may say, what challenge is that? Well, I'll tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest challenge you have in this country, if you work a job, is taxes. That's right. In America, all income earners are taxed based on the tax code, which means regardless how you make money in America, your tax code tells the IRS how much money to tax your paychecks to give money to the government. For an example, if you are a W-2 earner, you're taxed at a certain percentage. If you are a 1099 earner, you're taxed at a certain percentage. And if you are an investor, you are taxed at a certain percentage. Can you guess which one is taxed the highest out of all of these income streams? You guessed it, the W-2 earner. That's right. In America, the W-2 earner is taxed the highest. So that means if you work a 9-to-5 and you have an employer, your income is taxed higher than anyone else, which means you can lose up to a third of your income before you see it. This is one of the main reasons why statistics say 78 to 80% of working Americans make great income, but still live paycheck to paycheck.
What's your hourly wage?
My hourly wage is $12 an hour now.
Chantel Walker is a fast food worker and says she barely makes enough to scrape by.
A lot of my money that I make goes back into my rent.
In a new survey from CareerBuilder.com, 78% of workers say they are living paycheck to make ends meet, up from 75% last year.
The trend is continuing, and we expect it to continue going forward.
CareerBuilder's Michael Irwin says a higher cost of living and stagnant wages are hitting workers across the board.
What does that mean? You make great income on paper, but in actuality, the money that you are losing is affecting you in more ways than one. And I'll show you how. So when you get paid every pay period, the government takes up to a third of your income and start investing your income to make themselves wealthy. Once they've used your money to make themselves wealthy all year, they give you your money back in what is called income tax. A lot of working Americans, because they lose this money all year long, get so excited about tax filing season because they're going to get their money back. But little do most Americans know that any form of income given in this country can be taxed. So even your income tax return is taxed. Give you an example. Let's say you were taxed $6,000 for an entire year, which means all year long, the government took $6,000 from the money you made. You should get $6,000 back once you get your income tax check, right? Not so. In America, they would tax that income tax return, which means your income tax return check will look more so like this. This is the effect that taxes has on the W-2 earner. Now, what happens when you're losing this amount of money consistently year after year? It forces most workers to borrow the money they're losing, which in turn puts them in debt. So when the average working American wants to get back and forth to work, they go to a car lot and purchase a car, they have to pay what is called a car note. Because they lost a third of their income through taxes, the bank says, I'll give it back to you in the form of a loan. What about a house? Working Americans need a home, don't they? Well, because you don't have that third that you are losing, You can't go out and just purchase a house. You have to get a mortgage, which is another loan to the bank, student loans, charge cards, financing furniture, electronics, and a whole lot more. All of this financing and loans come from banks, giving you the money that you lost to taxes. But here's the thing, banks make money off of interest. So you're going to likely pay back more to the bank than they're loaning you. So now you're losing a third of income from taxes, and you're paying more than a third in interest to the banks. This causes most Americans to make great income, but still live paycheck to paycheck. And I'll show you. Take this example. In this example, this earner makes $50,000 a year on paper, but the government is taking up to a third of his income, which means he's losing $16,000 of his income to taxes. Now, because he's losing $16,000 of income to taxes, the bank says, don't worry, we'll put the $16,000 back, but we're going to charge you interest. So now that the bank is charging you interest, you're paying $24,000 back in interest, which leaves you living paycheck to paycheck. This is the challenge that 78% to 80% of working Americans face, but you're about to learn how to overcome that right now. See, the answer to your problem is understanding tax withholdings. When you first got employed, you were given an option to correct your withholdings. Most Americans fill out the form that they give you incorrectly or illegally or don't touch it at all. We're going to show you how to overcome that today. Now, if you're ready to overcome this strategy and put an extra $200 to $500 and in rare cases, maybe $800 to $1,000 every month back into your paycheck, click the button below and let's get started showing you how to give yourself a pay raise without asking your boss.